So I've got some weird stuff going on here. I actually did this yesterday. I was really tired and really kind of my ears weren't working. I don't know if you get that when you get really, like, I think we were up late over the weekend and I just couldn't hear what I was doing. And I generally don't like leaving stuff to the next day because you feel different the next day. I like getting stuff done and out of the way. So I was kind of curious of how this would sound today. It kind of sounds okay. I tweaked it already a little bit before I hit record, but it was a little bit calmer, but a very subtle aggression added. Just turned up the distortion a little bit. But other than that, it was pretty much as it was. So I thought it might be interesting just to see, just to see how this sounds to me the following day, and maybe kind of make some adjustments and kind of see where it goes. I don't typically work in like the computer very often over long periods unless it's sort of like a big project. But if it's a track, it's normally like I just need to get in and get out, and if I have to turn to or return to it the next day, then it normally goes in a completely different direction. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to play around for a bit and then maybe add some random comments as we go. As I slowly wake up, I had a lie-in this morning. It was very nice. Trying to remember what I was how this was working. I had a sample that's basically this is why I don't return to stuff the next day. I'm not feeling in this mood, So the sample was how do I play this from without the filter? Let's hear what this sample is. Yeah. So I just kind of had nice bit of bass. 101 sweep, so it's just one sample. And there's something that I actually learnt from, is it Phil or Paul? I think I always forget the shorter one from Orbital. They used to do this with the Akai S900s or S950, I forget which one they had, but basically doesn't have or the sample that they had didn't have the ability to filter in the way. Yeah, it is a 900, so you can't kind of filter it during its playing. So if you want to do like a sweep, it will only do it when it re-triggers, I believe. So the way they kind of got around that was to kind of basically have a start point. So there's one big sweep, and then if they want to filter it down every time it plays, it's this kind of deal. So they just kind of move the start point. So I thought that's quite handy thing to do. So I kind of set up. I basically set up a kind of keyboard tracking I often do, but with the start point being the factor as opposed to the frequency itself. So that's kind of where I started, and then I think I started adding some of the internal VCOs and things to try and kind of get something a bit more interesting. Just kind of wasn't gelling with it. So I'm kind of curious, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're working on a project and it gets messy, like, I don't know, like it feels like a cupboard that you've just thrown all your crap into, and then like it's tidy and you're flat, but that cupboard, man's just full of shit, and that just does my head in. It's better than it being on the floor, but just want to clear out that cupboard. So this feels like a project that's like, I'm not really sure what it's doing, and just feels messy, so I kind of want to get some focus on it, which is interesting because ultimately it should be what it sounds like, but I think it's maybe something I struggle with. If it's the next day, it's like the track is no longer mine, it's just this kind of remnants of the previous feeling. So I'm kind of interested to see if I can find something new with these kind of settings, which can be quite interesting or quite helpful, because you've kind of got all these parameters set up, but the track just takes on a different shape. It's like having the studio set up in a certain configuration, and then you just put one new sound in, and the whole thing sounds good because you've done all that EQ and effects and whatnot. So I'm going to try and see what happens there. So I'm liking that already, feeling a bit of a dubby mood, not surprisingly. So let's see what happens here. See, this fits my mood today. It's probably worth explaining there's some what's kind of going on with the filters and stuff. So this I set, you saw on the video, it was previously set, but this basically moves the start point from the end, which is the low sort of, low pass filter kind of part, to the filter being open at the start. So you've kind of got this pseudo opening filter thing that I kind of it just explained a minute ago. And then the other thing, this filter is obviously your standard filter that's running. I don't know if this is basically running. Yeah, this is just running the normal sound, but I think I've got it set that the audio is oh no, it is turned on. Yeah, but the bulk of the sound is kind of running through so much of the effects that you get this sort of this kind of affects the delays and stuff a bit more. They obviously both do, as you can hear, but because we've got so much compression and stuff going on and these clicks and stuff, this is kind of influencing that quite a bit. The kind of reverb stuff, if I remember, was, yeah, so I've set like keyboard tracking idea again, so like low notes and high notes kind of influence the sound differently, and I've just got it set to the pre-delay, so it's just bouncing the pre-delay off a little bit on those higher notes. So if I turn this up, you can hear. So obviously that's set based on the sequence here, not the sequence here. So, which you know, the triggers are different for the effects to, but for the effects to the original sequence. But I've essentially copied it over and then used those basic sequences and then just tweaked it a bit. So, which is a good way of getting around it, just like copying the tracks over. But I quite like this this adjustment. It just feels a bit darker. I think the problem with the previous one, it just felt a little bit nice. I'm not really, I don't know. Nice music's good and all, but yeah, it's like most days the dark stuff, the moody stuff fits my taste. This is a good way to do dubby stuff. It seems like the feedback is really sensitive, as most feedbacks are, to the frequencies you put into them. But playing around with the high pass and low pass kind of really helps you deal with that crazy feedback that can often, you know, anything past like 80 or something on these Elektron boxes, or at least this one, it just goes nuts. So this can kind of really help with that. Just dials it out. So those clicks comes from the start point of the sample being midway through. So when the filter's down, you're not hearing those clicks. But of course, you can open the filter up by tracking the start point. This is so difficult to describe. By moving the start point of the sample, you can open the filter up, this kind of pseudo filter. But then of course the start point is brighter already. Because it's an open filter, whereas here, if it's closed more, you still get that really abrupt click from the sample offset, like it's not zeroed. But then if you've got the filter on, you're not going to hear that click. So this is quite cool, just being able to open up the actual filter and then hear this clicking happen is quite cool. I mean, I didn't intend to do this. Like, it's not like I've sat here and thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have some clicks? But I guess you just pick this stuff over the way, and you kind of know that there's lots of qualities that come out of certain approaches, and then just kind of putting yourself in there and working with what you got. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. This stuff here was, for those of you who don't know, audio out, control in, and you can modulate stuff, basically. Where do you go? Control, expression learn, and then function kit, then you can modulate stuff. So this is modulating the sample bit rate and then the filter based on the audio, which is quite cool. I forgot that I'd set that up. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. The project's in the description as always. I think I'll save it in a kind of state that seems familiar at some point. Because obviously the original one, I mean, I don't know, maybe you like the original one at the start of the video, but I like this one, so I'm going to save it in this state. And then, yeah, thanks very much.